Welcome to it, episode number 24 of Awareness, the podcast fostering a more compassionate, empathetic, and accepting society. Thanks so much for being along here. Yours truly, Rob Daniels, with you for this very intriguing episode ahead. Don't forget to click like and subscribe if you're on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Spread the good word on this podcast. It's all about breaking down the stigma when it comes to mental health. Can't get enough voices championing mental health, and that's what this is all about. So we're here to provide more compassion, more acceptance, more empathy toward all our guests, and just to raise some ears and bring things more into awareness, and that's what we're all about here. I cannot believe we're already at episode number 24, and in this episode, actually going to be sitting down with my best buddy, who you see on the other screen, my best friend, Phil, and I
Oh,
quote him, Philly Esposito. Welcome to the podcast, Philly.
thanks for having me, Rob.
Of course, very happy to. And that's, I mean, we've been childhood best friends. We go way back to when we were 15, 16 years old. And I thought,
Why before that, because I was at your bar mitzvah.
that's right. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
we're 15, 16. My gosh,
yeah,
has it been that long? So that's like,
yeah,
it's been like 30 years, right?
yeah, man.
Like
Yeah,
close to 30 years.
yeah,
Wow. Um,
yeah,
and of
absolutely.
course, gotta have my best friend on here to talk about his powerful journey, what he's experienced, and just to raise awareness as to what he's gone through. But Phil and I go way back. I mean, we worked in some fun times in high school radio together, and he provided like wrestling reports during a top 40 radio broadcast in between, at certain segments. So those are some fond memories indeed. But life isn't always sunshine and roses, as we know that, right? So to speak. And you, Phil, you were diagnosed with cardiomyopathy at just 20 years old. Now he's spent the last 22 years managing the condition, and after his health took a serious turn earlier this year, Phil actually spent 5 months in the hospital undergoing LVAD surgery to keep him alive while waiting for a heart transplant. Now, if you don't know what LVAD surgery is, we'll get to that. You're probably not the only one. Phil will explain that. And grateful that he's able to do this podcast and talk with us here because he was finally discharged from the hospital just 2 weeks ago. And we're going to be talking about what it's like to live with a chronic illness, to provide more compassion to people going through that, the emotional and physical challenges of spending months in the hospital, and what it means to step back into life outside those walls. Um, so through our conversation, Philly's also going to share how he tries to help others facing similar battles. You might be going through a similar one, and uh, hopefully he's able to encourage you to not lose hope here. We're going to reflect on his resilience, gratitude, and why organ donation certainly matters so deeply to him and to so many others waiting for a second chance at life. So, officially bringing you on here, um, Phil, to talk about um, what you've been experiencing over these last few months, these last few years, and can you can you take us back to when you were first diagnosed with cardiomyopathy at the age of
Yeah,
20? Do you remember that long? Like, what do you remember
yes,
feeling at
I
that time?
do. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, I had a regular doctor appointment, a regular checkup,
Hmm.
and I went to walk up the stairs, and I was so out of breath. Like it was like very difficult to catch my breath. My doctor became very concerned, and she wanted to do some blood work.
Yeah.
So she checked the blood work, and then she called a few days later, and she said, "You have cardiomyopathy, which is an enlarged heart and the heart muscle's weak. My ejection fraction was like less than 20%, which is not good. So I've been on different medications to manage it, and that's basically all I've been doing. And I always struggled with weight for a long, long time until I finally figured things out, because it's very difficult to lose weight when you're that heavy.
It's
Like
very difficult.
I was over 420 pounds at one point. Now
Yeah.
I've lost about 200 pounds, just over 200 pounds. So
It's a big, big accomplishment. That's very almost unheard of. So
yeah, it took me about 2.5 years to get where I'm at now. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, how do you want to explain to the audience how you got down to that amount? Like, it's hard to just imagine you
Um,
just dropped 200 pounds. What did you have to do? What's the secret? What was your secret?
my secret was starting with protein in the morning.
Okay.
So I always have eggs in the morning. So I'll have 2 eggs. Sometimes I'll put like green peppers in there, mushrooms. There's this low fat cheese that I use with less sodium than most cheeses.
Yeah.
And then I have a bowl of fruit,
Yeah.
and strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. I have an apple, cut up banana, clementines. I put that all in a bowl and I eat that as well. And then lunch, I basically stick to mostly protein for my food. So,
Yeah.
turkey, steak, chicken, fish, lots of
Mhm.
salad. And I just started noticing the weight coming off.
Yeah. And
And
so did you drop carbs completely?
no, no.
Okay.
Carbs are essential because without them, you could develop brain fog.
Okay.
So it's actually important to have a little bit of carbs in your
Yeah.
diet. I just cut back a lot
Yeah.
because I'm a big pasta guy. Like I'm Italian and
Yeah. We
Portuguese,
all,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love my pasta and stuff, and so that was difficult, very difficult to cut back on that stuff. But you kind of, in a way, I took your advice actually, and you said look
Oh,
at food as fuel for your body.
yeah.
And
It's
that's
true.
the
For
way I
sure.
started looking at things. And I'm just like, once I started the weight coming off, I said, I want to keep going. This is great.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
I started dropping pants sizes. Like I used to be like a 54 in jeans. Now I'm like a 40.
Wow. That's incredible. It
So
must
like,
feel like amazing. I mean, it's a good problem to have when you need to go shopping for
oh,
alternate clothes sizes now and in this
yeah,
direction. So
that's the thing. I used to have to shop at George Richards because those are the only clothes that fit me.
yeah.
And a pair of jeans there is like $100.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
now I could go to Costco and get jeans for $20.
Yeah. It's yeah.
So
There you go.
it just makes a huge difference. Like everything becomes easier and cheaper. Like
Yeah.
clothing too. Clothing's cheaper as well when you're smaller,
For
right?
sure.
So
So
yeah,
So going back to your original diagnosis, though, like
yeah.
cardiomyopathy, where it all began for you at the age of 20, over the years living with this, can you explain to the audience what has daily life been like managing your heart condition other than watching the diet?
Um, I had my very difficult days where I had a hard time catching my breath. I A simple thing like going upstairs and I'd be panting for breath, right? So it's one of those things I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I got to figure this out.
Mhm.
I got to figure this out. Um,
And ultimately, it was the panting for breath, but, like, before you had to get this emergency visit to the hospital for as long as you did, for the 5 months that you were in, before that, when it was manageable, was there anything that stuck out for you, like, that was, different in daily life compared to what, let's say, the average person experiences? Was it just having to constantly remind yourself to take more medication? Was it, panting out of breath
yeah,
before this?
all my meds,
Yeah,
my medications. Yeah, it was just it was very difficult. A lot of pain
yeah.
starts causing back pains and knee pains, and um, the list goes on.
Wow, and that's do you think that's the medication that causes the pain, or is it the
No, I think
condition itself?
it's just the condition.
Okay,
It's the condition.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah,
So you were able to manage it for all that time, like just over 20 years or so, the condition without having to do these constant visits to the hospital, which I visited you. You were at, you were at a couple of hospitals, very well renowned hospitals. Are you willing to give them a shout out or yeah, say, or do you want
yeah.
to keep that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I was at Southlake
Yeah.
originally, and they have a great cardiac program as well.
Hmm.
And obviously, Toronto General Hospital, which
Yeah.
is
Very cheap
a top 5 hospital in the entire world.
for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so
UHN, for sure.
UHN,
University Hospital.
they were
Uh,
they were absolutely fantastic. Um,
yeah.
but they had to get my weight down to a certain level in order for me to be eligible for the surgery,
Right.
because
Which we'll
otherwise
get to.
it was too much of a risk.
For sure. So these last 6 months have really changed you. So talk about the events that led up to the hospital, and can you share what happened and how you officially ended up in the hospital?
Yeah, I started getting really bad water retention.
Hmm.
So my legs blew up like balloons, like they were huge, and I was retaining fluid.
Hmm.
So they had to, change my dosages of the diuretic. The diuretic essentially makes you pee a lot,
Okay. A lot.
right? So yeah, it's like every hour.
Hmm.
So it's like you constantly have to be near a bathroom. It's crazy. It's absolutely
Hmm.
crazy.
So
But my doctor, the cardiologist at Southlake, she's the one who officially diagnosed me with heart failure.
yeah.
And then that's why they had to get me prepped for surgery. So the
Okay.
LVAD is essentially a bridge while I wait for a transplant.
And an LVAD is yeah, it's essentially is it a device that's been placed inside of your chest? Is that's what's in there?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
it's basically a pump that
okay,
helps your heart function better.
right,
Um,
and
but it was quite the big procedure. I was in surgery for 5-6 hours.
yeah,
Um, and
it's a huge surgery.
the recovery.
Surgery.
Yeah, I'm still recovering. It's going to be a long road to recovery.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I remember when you first got this news about the LVAD, we were trying to do some research on it, and I mean, it's a great thing that exists because it gives you more time in order to find a matching heart in order to have a heart transplant eventually down the road, right?
absolutely. Because I was on milrinone,
Yeah.
which is essentially life support,
Hmm.
and they can't distribute that outside of hospital, so you have to be in hospital. So it was either do the LVAD surgery or sit in the hospital until I get a heart.
Wow.
Which who knows how long it could be before they find a proper match for me.
And do you think that's it's an ongoing search? Like, do they search daily? Do they search weekly? Do you know that information?
Yeah, I'm on the list. I'm on the transplant list.
Yeah.
But they need to find somebody with, first of all, the same blood type
Okay.
and also the same build, like height wise, weight. So it's very difficult to find a
So
donor.
is it? Yeah. I mean, is it? Do you think it's happening daily, this search, or did the doctors tell you how often
No,
they can be looking
you're just on a waiting list
on a waiting list until something
until
comes
something
up?
comes in, and then that's it. If
And
they call me, I got to
yeah,
go back. I got to go back and get the surgery.
and during your wait, how long can the LVAD last for to keep managing the
Oh,
heart
it lasts.
to function
Just, I met somebody that has been on LVAD for 2 years, over 2 years.
for 2 years? And do they
Yeah.
have to do any modifications to it every few years, or is it something
No.
that can just last without doing any modification to it?
Yeah, as long as you got to test the because it comes with a controller,
Yeah,
which is basically like a mini computer, and
yeah.
then you have a battery pack, two battery packs that you have to keep in at all times.
Hmm.
Um, and then in the evening, you have to hook up to the wall power,
Okay,
which because they don't want you on a battery at night in case you fall asleep and the battery runs out,
right.
because that would be a big problem.
So
So when I'm ready for bed, I plug into the wall power.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you uh how did you let's just say, okay, for example, there is no I'm just thinking worst case scenario. Let's say for this goes on for a long time, years. You cannot find a matching heart. Can people live on an LVAD for a
Yeah,
life? Like, can
absolutely.
yeah? So then,
Absolutely.
what's the purpose of having the heart transplant then? If
So
there
that
if
you
people
don't have
can,
because the LVAD has it's a line that comes out of you. It connects from from the pump and it goes through your stomach. So you constantly have a line. It's what
sorry, you
they
cut out
call a
there. Hold on,
drive
hold on.
line. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think we're back. Could you just repeat your
Okay.
answer? Just because I think we cut out there for a second. So why did
Yeah.
you so what's the purpose
So,
of having the LVAD and not getting a transplant if you can't get one? Or like
well,
can you survive on it for a good lengthy period of time?
yeah, absolutely. There's people that have been on LVADs for years.
Okay.
So, I
Okay.
mean, it's not something that, yeah, you can live with it.
Hmm.
Um, I obviously you prefer a transplant because then you don't have to deal
So
with.
oh, all the extra hassles of the LVAD. It's a lot more time strenuous to have the LVAD. Yeah,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
So that I okay. You got the LVAD. You processed this news initially. Um, how did you process it? I mean, it's got to be like a big, you know, you're sitting I just trying to envision being in your shoes. You're laying back in your hospital bed and you're trying to rest and recuperate and try and figure out what's next, and they tell you that you need this LVAD, 4 to 6 hour surgery, major surgery. What goes through your mind when you first find this out?
I was terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was scared out of my mind because I didn't really know 100% what to expect.
Right.
But I couldn't wait in a hospital anymore. So I'm like, I got to
Mhm.
get this done. I
Yeah.
have to get this done.
And you put on that brave face that you needed to, and you
That's
were a
it.
champion, and you did what you needed to do, and you deserve a lot of credit for that.
Thank
So
you. I had a lot of support from my friends and my family, and they were all very supportive throughout the whole
that's
thing.
good to hear, for
Yeah.
sure. Good to hear. It's always great to have a good support system. So, um, what was the surgery and recovery like for you, physically and emotionally? Would you say
Um, Physically, it was incredibly painful the first couple of days
it was like the
because you
worst
had
pain
these.
you've ever experienced? Probably.
Yeah, it was pretty painful. Like I couldn't get out of bed on my own.
Hmm.
I had to have help just to get out of a bed. Um, so it was quite difficult. Um, Emotionally, yeah, I had my really up and down days. Some days were rougher than others.
Hmm.
Um, but like I said, a lot of support from my friends and family, and that's really what got me through it.
It's good to hear that you have a close, bond with family and friends. Now, um, just the experience as a whole. I know talking to you and knowing you personally, there were certainly some frustrating days being in the hospital, and to anyone, I can't, imagine 5 months. I'm sure just anybody would have certain frustrations, and it's only normal and natural. Um, so, what was it like for you just being in the hospital for 5 months? How would you busy yourself? How would you stay sane in that environment for 5 months? What did you do?
Well, it was a lot more difficult at South Lake because there was nothing I could do there. They didn't have. You had to pay for your internet if you wanted internet. You had to pay for TV. Um, at least at Toronto General, they had free Wi-Fi.
Okay, so
So
that's
I was able to use my tablet and I could watch
Blue Jays
Netflix. I
game.
could watch Blue Jay games. I could,
Big fan of
you
the
know,
Jays. Yes.
yeah,
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 probably the biggest Jays fan I know, Philly Esposito, even though he's a hockey player.
yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
right.
Hey, let's bring that into awareness. Phil Esposito.
Mm,
So named after the hockey player. That's correct, right?
correct.
Yeah, you
My
were named after him.
Yeah, my father was a big fan. So
The Bruins, I guess, right? That's where he played. Yeah,
that was, yeah, because that was way before my time.
yeah,
But
yeah, me too. Yeah.
yeah.
So, you were in regards to the life in the hospital there. Um, this could really certainly help others that might be in the same situation as you right about now. Maybe they're listening in the hospital. Maybe they have their tablet in front of them right now and they're watching this podcast and they want some hope. They want um, some sort of uh, something that's going to give them the energy and the motivation to stay strong and disciplined. Um, so maybe you can help in this regard when it comes to coping with the long days, the uncertainty, and the waiting that came with your situation in the hospital. How did you cope with that?
Um, I just tried to always have a positive outlook.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and it was there. Like I said, there's days that are more difficult than others.
Hmm.
But at least, like I said, at least when I was at Toronto General, I had distractions. So I didn't overthink everything
Yeah.
when I was there. It sounds like you're sitting in the bed and there's nothing to do. You just sit there. Um, so it was a lot more difficult there dealing with having to deal with everything because you have no distractions.
Yeah. Well, were
So
you reading? Did you do crosswords? Did you do any of
I
that type of distraction?
I did. I did. I
Yeah.
had to because that's all I had.
Yeah.
So I sit there, I do some crossword puzzles. Um, when my mom would come to visit, she'd bring dominoes. We'd play dominoes.
Yeah.
Um, so anything to keep me distracted.
Right.
Anything to keep me distracted.
So, I mean, you and I have been friends since childhood. How has this specific journey changed the way that you see friendship support and connection?
Well, I mean, obviously there's some friends that, you know, really made an effort.
Hmm.
And those are the ones that um, that's what helped get me through things. Um, but yeah, yeah, I'd say my couple of best friends, they were all very supportive. And that's the
Good.
only way I got through things.
So, thinking back to all of this, what would you say has been the hardest moment for you through all of this?
I guess going through that surgery,
Hmm.
um, I was just really scared.
Yeah,
I was
I don't
really
blame you.
I was really anxious and nervous, and when I was in the operating room, I do remember them telling me the heart rate was going crazy because I guess I was, excuse me, I guess I was nervous.
Yeah, well, of
Um,
course. Yeah, I wouldn't think you would not be. So, how did they settle that down? Um, how did
well,
they proceed?
they gave me a medication to
Hmm.
settle my nerves a bit, and
Sure.
then they knocked me out. I was out
You're out. Yeah.
once. So
What do you
yeah,
think that
I was
was?
out.
Midazolam or something? Is that what the thing
I,
is that?
I I'm not sure what they use. They put a mask over your nose and they just tell you to breathe.
Yeah.
And then next thing I knew, I was waking up and I was back in my room, and I woke
Yeah.
up and my mom was standing there with my aunt.
Wow.
And that's honestly all I remember
Hmm.
from that day.
So, I mean, that was obviously very difficult to go through, and I'm so happy that it was a successful surgery because, yeah, I mean, you were at the one of the top hospitals in the world, so it's great that you were well taken care of. With there being a hard moment, there's also, I would hope, maybe a surprising or even uplifting moment through this all. Was there anything that would come to mind with that?
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess all the support from my mom, like she was there, the day of surgery, and then she came every day for like the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Um, so that kind of lifted my spirits because,
Mhm.
as I'm sure you feel the same way,
Yeah.
my mom is my entire universe.
Right. And it's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. There's people in your life that are like that. Obviously, like my mom, my wife, my
of
child, like
course.
my brother. Family is, yeah. It's everything. So I'm sure um, her being there for you each and every day probably just gave that reinforcement that you needed. Um, you know, that your mom is there for you. It's unconditional love,
Yeah.
and you probably really saw that. up close, and if you ever doubted that at any point, I'm sure it's solidified, or canceled out those doubts pretty quickly, over your tenure in hospital. So, um,
Absolutely.
what would you say, what does receiving a heart transplant represent to you? What does that mean? If you
A
were to
second
get
chance at
one,
life.
yeah,
A second chance. My current heart is, it's not in good shape.
hmm,
So that's the way I kind of look at it, and I hope I get a donor soon. I really do.
sure,
Because it'll make the world of difference in uplifting my spirits. I I want to get back to some sort of normalcy in my life. I want to be able to go back to work.
yeah,
Um, I want to be able to drive again, because I still haven't been cleared to do that.
hmm,
Um, so that's essentially how I feel. It'd be a second chance.
yeah, and you certainly deserve it. So, if you could speak to your future self, like the Philly who has had his transplant and is living again to his fullest potential, what would you want to say?
Stay on track with the way I'm eating now. I've gotten so used to it that I don't want to fall back again. Um,
Patterns and
so
stuff.
yeah, there's no way I can fall back. So I have to, that's kind of, um, my motivation to stay on track.
Like, have you canceled out all sugars and salts? Like, if you want like something sweet after dinner, you haven't had like a chocolate bar in a while, or if you munching on
Um,
something
I
salty when watching a baseball game.
No, I don't do salt. Um, Sometimes I'll basically treat myself to, sometimes I'll get like a cookie, but it's
Right.
only once a week. So I'll have, I pick my day and then I have a cookie and I
Right.
enjoy it. Like I
Because you're human.
get a chocolate chip cookie or whatever, and I just enjoy it.
Hmm.
So
That's good. That's
yeah,
good. And what would you say to others who might be going through their own health battles? Any advice?
yeah, you got to try and live in the now.
Hmm.
Don't don't meddle on the past or on the way things used to be or in the future. Concentrate on yourself now. Um, and that's probably the best advice I could give. Is
To
just yeah,
focus on being present as much as possible.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
And what message do you want listeners to take away from your story specifically?
You have to believe that positive things will happen.
Hmm.
Um, you got to try, and I know it's difficult some days, and like I said, I went through it. But you have to try, and I try my best to always have a positive outlook,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
I know that at least the LVAD allowed me to come home.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be worse, right? Like maybe
Could
there was,
be
heaven forbid there was no such thing as an LVAD, right? Like I think of certain things in my life too. The same thing. If there was no medication, like
right.
how do you manage, right? It's there's
Absolutely.
positives, for sure too, but we as humans we tend to harp on the negative. at
Of
times more
course.
than when we should be reversing that and be grateful for the things we do have. We're not guaranteed what we have each and every day, or what we have daily, let's say every day. You wake up, and if you could still smell and taste and have your senses, like that's like a blessing. And we don't really notice that uh, until something's taken away from us, I find. If we just practice gratitude more, is a big thing, and I'm sure you
100%.
champion that too. So that's good. And
100%.
also wanted to ask you that in terms of how people can support organ donation awareness and patients like you who are waiting for a transplant, how can people best support organ donation
Well,
awareness
there's
and patients? Yeah.
there's actually a groups on Facebook
Okay.
um, that you can join, and it's people that have gone through the same thing, and it's really supportive.
Yeah.
They're all really nice people, and they help a lot with you trying to stay positive, and um, they give their experiences on LVADs and what happened after a heart transplant. Um, so that's probably where I'd suggest going.
Okay.
Is there's a organ um, a group on Facebook. So they have one for heart donors, they have one for lung donors, kidney, depending on what you need.
So what would
There
you
are
search in the Facebook, or where in the search engine? What would you search up on Facebook to find this out? Because you're mentioning it's on Facebook, but is it under a certain group name on Facebook?
yeah, I mean, like I said, depends on what you need. Like if you're looking for a heart transplant, then there's one for that.
Okay.
If you need kidney transplant, there's a group for that. Lung transplant, there's a group for that. Um,
So you're
so you just
basically
have
individually. Yeah, go
yes,
ahead.
yeah, it's individually separated into different groups.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, that's good to know. And yeah, so if anyone's looking, you search that up on Facebook, and hopefully that can help others as well. And finally, Philly, in closing, I want to know, when you picture life after your transplant, what's the very first thing that you want to do?
I'm gonna go to California Sandwiches and get a hot veal with cheese and mushroom and a diet Pepsi.
Simplicity, eh? Just like a
I,
celebration sandwich. Just a
Oh,
yeah,
I'm a pretty simple guy. Like
yeah,
that kind of thing makes me. I'll be
yeah,
satisfied with that, or a
yeah.
piece of my mom's lasagna. I can't
There
wait.
you go. Yeah, yeah. You deserve it. You deserve it tenfold. Way to
Yeah,
go. Well, you've come a long way,
yeah,
Philly, or as you're known in our family, Uncle Philly. Uh, you're just a great guy, and you've spread a lot of awareness here today. Hopefully, it helps others. Hopefully, it just inspires others to keep on fighting the good fight, and keep on moving
absolutely.
forward in the most positive ways possible. So, thank you so much for doing this today, for opening up, for willing to be vulnerable, and you've really done a good thing. So, thank you to Philly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Awareness episode number 24. Thanks so much for watching, listening, wherever you get your podcast. Certainly means a lot. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Would certainly mean a lot. And thanks for watching. For producer Mike, my name is Rob Daniels. Look forward to catching you in the next episode.